Hello, everyone, and welcome to Day 2 of the Warmachine Weekend 2017 Stream Series. We are wrapping up champions in our last 2 games. Today we're in our semifinals featuring 2 armies we saw yesterday, but with 2 different players.
Different players, different casters.
It's super exciting.
Than I saw.
Doug. I need you to
very
amp
excited.
it up.
Oh, I'm excited.
Let's get going.
Still early, but I'm excited.
We got the Heretic versus Lucant.
Yes.
And a very different Lucant list than we saw yesterday. Yesterday we saw Clockwork Legions. Today we're going to see Destruction Initiative, a classic Goldie, Blast from the Past. And our 2 players today are Jay Larson and Jason Watt. So 2 veterans of the competitive scene.
Yeah, it should be an exciting game.
It should be an exceptionally great game.
Yeah.
Both these guys are fierce competitors. They know their stuff in and out. And I'm really excited to see what they're bringing to the table in this semifinal match. And I can't pick favorite out of this. This
is going to be a good one.
There's so much going on these tables. We've got Dark Menagerie facing off against the Destructive Initiative. It's heavy things against heavy things.
We got a lot of jacks, a lot of beasts on the field.
Yeah, absolute pandemonium is what's going to come down here.
Yeah.
Our scenario today for this semifinal match is Standoff. Tell us about Standoff, Doug.
It's a scenario that has some boxes.
It also has some circles.
Some circles.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Why don't you tell us
all
all
right,
about
so we've got 4 zones in which you can score in. The circles obviously are for warrior models. You've got the rectangular areas, which are battle group, warcaster, warlock, who can score anywhere, and then of course battle engines as well. No flags in this one, but you do have 2 objectives on each side of the table. Our objectives that our players chose this time, Jason Watt chose Arcane Wonder, which can grant magical weapons to his models if they activate within it. And then, of course, Jay chose Supply Cache, which will allow him to do some healing. Not bad when you're looking at a heavy amount of battle group models. So first person to score 5 or more CPs of their opponent or to get a Warcaster Warlock elimination, assassination wins the round, or at the end of the 7th round, the person with the most CPs will win. Just like usual.
You got it.
Yeah.
I love how that.
I'm glad you approved, Doug.
I love how that Convergence army looks. That color scheme.
Jason Watt's Convergence has been wowing people for years now. It's an awesomely painted army. I love Jay's army too. It looks fantastic. The use of pumpkins, and then if you can see the bases on them, it looks like a rutted kind of farm pasture kind of thing. With all of the little troughs and stuff. It's pretty sweet.
And this play mat is built for him. We're at the crossroads.
That's right.
Again.
We're at the crossroads, so you should have plenty of story to tell to people.
It looks like the wizard hut and the metal shack have moved. The Wanderers maybe come by and move some things around.
The Wanderer is just kind of he's affected some stuff. Like he do.
But I'm glad to see everything isn't exactly in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
But here, how do we? What do you think of this setup?
I think that this is like a pretty typical setup when you've got all of the models in the world, like Jason does. So let's go over their list really quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Jason, you probably saw from that shot there. So again, Destruction Initiative. He's got Father Lucan. He's got a Corollary, a Conservator, 9 Galvanizers, of course, for all the action that you can ever have. An Inverter. He's got the TEP, the Transfinite Immersion Projector. He's got 3 groups of Elimination Servitors, which were free from the Theme Force. He's got 1 group of Reflex Servitors, which are your favorite, the little bomby dudes.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Free from the Theme Force. Then he's got an Optifex Directive, and he's got an Algorithmic Dispersion Optifex, or as I like to call him, Boombox McGee. Then tell us what's on the Dark Menagerie side with the Heretic.
So the Heretic's got a couple of Cage Ragers. He has 2 Skin and Moans. He's got a Rattler. He's got Gorehound, a couple of Frightmares, and a couple of Krabbits. Is it just 2 Krabbits? Is that correct?
Yeah, so those are the free Krabbits from the Theme Force, so they're 1 apiece, so he's got 2 total.
In the back, he's got his Death Knell to support everybody. He can distribute some corpse tokens, and then we've got, I guess, how many Gremlin Swarms do we have here?
He's got 4.
4
He's got
Gremlin
the max
Swarms.
allotment, so
yes.
4 Gremlin Swarms.
And so, yeah, this is definitely an interesting list. I like seeing the Heretic on the table. He's one of my favorite of the Defiers. He's a little bit more serious, a little bit more business.
He's a little more crazy than the rest of them.
He kind of, he likes to think of himself as the leader of the Defiers, since he was the big one defying
He was
the
the
Creator.
last, but he had the best PR department. That's basically what you're saying here.
Well, no, he was the one who flat out told Manoth, off. And so
it's true. He did give Manoth
he's the reason they all got thrown into the ditch.
Is he really the reason? I feel like they were going to wind up there anyway.
Well, maybe
he sped the process.
I don't think the child would have been thrown down just on her own.
Let's talk a little bit about the table that we got going on. So we have 2 forests on the table. We've got 1 here, 1 here. We've got a huge murder house, I believe they were calling it yesterday, right there in the center. We have 2 hills, which are going on over here. We have the Wizard Hut, which has made an appearance everywhere.
Right.
And then we've got a nice little rocky obstruction right here. So
having that house right in the middle of the table is definitely going to change things up.
The house definitely makes it an interesting avenue, because you've got this huge choke point here where you can't see, you can't move through it. You can't, it cuts off a huge amount of the table, and especially when you're talking about scoring in these 2 zones. So now, with the forest where they are, you have passive engagement here and passive engagement here. And that's really going to force these guys to choose interesting tactics when it comes down to how they're going to affect their movements, where they're going to go with it. And then if they're going to commit to one side of the table or the other, because, again, the house also cuts movement from north to south as well, based on how we're looking at it from the camera.
Right.
So when you're talking about these big, large battle groups and how they're going to kind of affect the tables, it's going to be interesting to see how the players choose to do that. You can already see that Jason is taking a very aggressive approach. He's pushing forward on his table. Pretty much everything in his army ran. I wouldn't be surprised to see him push forward again and use his feet defensively to kind of maximize his board position.
Make everything
and try to use those choke points. I mean, effectively, he can use those choke points if, depending on kind of how Jay's turn plays out. And you see Jay is already being pretty aggressive with that Gorehound.
Right.
Gorehound's awesome because Ghostly is going to allow it to basically move through anything it wants.
And the Gorehound can go further away, right? It has the long.
Yeah, it's got extended control range, so it really doesn't have to worry about being outside the Heretic's control range. You see the Gorehound backed up a little bit. Interesting, just trying to keep it alive, trying to stay outside of. One of the things that Gorehound can be really good at and really annoying at when you have an obstruction like that that's centrally located is because it can just ghost right through, and that its movement is long enough to get past that house. You can effectively have it move forward, attack some stuff, use its animus to like dart away, get out of danger, and not really have to face any significant retaliation.
So it can kind of pick off a piece here and there.
Yeah, Lightning Strike is huge on it because you can go in, you can kill some stuff, you can bounce right back out, you can get behind the house.
Right.
I've seen Pagani use that effectively many times, sadly against me. It's very frustrating, and I hate Gorehounds because of it. I also love them when I play Grimkin.
How would you describe the Heretic's play style? I haven't had a chance to see him in action a whole lot.
The Heretic is really good. I don't know which Arcana cards they picked, that Jay picked to start. So I can't really talk too much about that, but his trump card obviously effectively grants prey to his army when something destroys something in his army.
Right.
So he's really good at pumping up hitting potential, right? He's gonna be able to crack armor really well, which puts him in a favorable spot in this matchup where you've got a lot of Warjacks on the other side of the table. And Galvanizers, they're not the most robust jacks, so if you can hit them really hard a couple times, they're going to go down. The Skin and Bones getting pumped up through Corpse Token Collection, which is going to be a little bit of a struggle here, just based on the fact that Watt doesn't have a whole lot of models with souls. So it sounds like the other 2 Arcana cards besides the Trump card that comes with the Heretic were Shadow, which is one of my favorites. It allows you to just drop a heavy war beast on the table for a round.
Oh, wow.
Just be like, woo, spooky monster.
Spooky monster out of nowhere.
And Sacrifice is the other one. This is another one that I absolutely loathe thanks to my games against Pagani, where when something dies in your army, you basically can play Sacrifice and everything else heals.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be a huge swing there in terms of kind of erasing your opponent's entire turn, and you have to be very careful about how you're spreading your damage out, how your activation is going when you know your opponent has sacrifice to be able to drop against you.
Does something trigger Shadow, or can you just kind of do that wherever you want?
Shadow is triggered. Yeah, everything in the Grimkin army is triggered.
Triggered off of something.
And I believe that it's triggered off of movement placement, but I can't remember the exact wording. I need to bring it up on War Room here.
Yeah, we'll bring it up.
See if I can find it.
But meanwhile, they're moving on up. But so now Lucan's army is going to be particularly durable, I would imagine, even though those galvanizers aren't normally so tough. All he has to do is pop his feet to get a nice armor buff.
All right, so we're seeing a little bit more of a cautious approach by Jay because he wants to stay outside of threat range from Watt's army.
Sure.
But he's still putting himself in good position to be able to kind of answer the question of that house in the center, move around to the sides.
So it looks like Jason's got servitors covering his south flank. He's got more of his forces up there on the north. Got a little spray template action coming down.
So basically, Shadow activates when an enemy model advances into and ends its movement in the melee range of a smaller base friendly faction model in the Warlock's control range.
Okay.
So we're talking about, the Heretic's control range. It's pretty generous.
Right. So what's he doing here, you think?
All right, well, it looks like he's squaring up his shots with the TEP.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's placed his servitors where they're going, but it looks like we're going to see a couple of shots off of that with boosted. And it looks like he got both the Skin and Moans and the Cage Raider, which is a nice little lineup shot there.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect, the goal here is to do some damage. Again, knowing that sacrifice is on the table, you really want to make sure you're killing whatever you're damaging. You don't want to just spread
leave
out
a bunch
of
wounded
damage
stuff, yeah.
and all of a sudden have, kill something and then have the Heretic basically wipe it all clean.
Right.
All right. So here comes the Cage Rager. He hits on the Cage Rager. Hits on the Skin and Moans, it looks like. So POW 11 is going to get 4 dice based on his servitor placement. That was decent. So Skin and Moans is a 19 right now. And that'll do a nice chunk of damage there.
That is one of my favorite gameplay aspects of the TEP is I love the little servitor arrangement, configuration.
How it configures out.
Kind of affects its little power field to shoot its energy beams.
Yeah, it's definitely the TEP is such a powerful piece in Convergence's toolbox because of its ability to shoot multiple times or get additional die on either its attack or damage rolls based on what it needs.
Right.
And already you're looking at a rate of fire 2, so just a crazy good piece.
It can dish outs, and it looks great.
It does look really fancy.
All those little spider legs.
But yeah, you had 2 in the left, which gave it the additional dies on its attack or its damage rolls. And he did some decent damage against the Skin and Moans. It looked like specifically. I didn't see what the final results from the second shot were on the Cage Rager.
Is it correct that in the early play test there was something way more complicated going on with those servitor alignments?
Oh my god, we went through.
There was some trigonometry involved.
We went through so many different permutations of how those servitors would affect things. And
yeah.
There was a point where you had to have them in triangular formations in terms of how they were on the base and all this. It was crazy. We came up.
A slightly simpler.
And even the new edition version since Mark II, when the Convergence came out, it's gotten simplified with the rate of fire, because it used to be you could affect the number of shots. You could get more that were weaker, and now it's just it's just a little more standardized, where it's left or right. Don't worry about it. You always get 2 shots.
The Convergence can do math, but that doesn't mean that we always want to do all the math.
I don't think that you want to be figuring out approach vectors and firing shots.
Yeah.
So Watt's really making a play to try to eliminate some of Jay's War Beasts quickly here. So Crabbit looks like it's going to take a shot for the Skin and Moans.
the elimination
So
servitor.
elimination servitor again. See another one coming up. So just taking some pot shots here, trying to add some extra damage early. Eliminating those skin and moans is going to be pretty key for Jason, because the Cage Ragers are not nearly as offensive in terms of their hitting power as those skin and moans once they're loaded up with souls.
Right.
Because you're looking at, Power Strength 17 is legit. There's nothing wrong there, especially when you're facing a bunch of light warjacks. But
now, is the fact that this is not a living army, does that weaken the Grimkin in any way?
I mean, the biggest hindrance here is the fact that most of Jason's models are vectors, and they don't have souls.
Right.
Right.
So
if he was playing Clockwork Legions at this point,
he'd still be able to function
the construct
normally.
thing, because of Soul Vessel, really doesn't stop
Right.
Jay from being able to collect a bunch of souls and power his army. But yeah, here you're looking at, he's only going to get souls when one of his models dies, and Jay isn't sitting on a bunch of units, right? So the Skin and Bones are going to be a little strapped to be able to power up as much as they want to.
Right.
Obviously, the feat helped out, or the Theme Force, helps out with that, because they all got to start with a corpse token.
I see.
But corpse collection is going to be a premium here for Jay. And that certainly puts a little bit of a kink in with the Gremkin game plan. All right, so it looks like Jay's moving on, getting the Conservator to advance forward. We see a Galvanizer. Looks like a charge. You see that proxy marker that Jason put down. I believe that kind of marks out his. I'm not sure what he's marking off there. That might be a wall template. Let's take a look. I'm not sure what that token is representing. If he marks just kind of
I don't know.
distance, because it certainly looks like that's, that's the danger zone. Okay, it's the Wall of Fire. That's from Jay. I'm confused because it looks like a Convergence blue. But yeah, so Jay using...
He's got a little Wall of Fire out there.
Using the Wall of Fire from the Heretic.
Right.
To kind of close off the table and force Jason to take some fire damage as he moves through it. And also be set on. So, not too bad. Not pretty good damage roll on that Galvanize that walked through fire. You see another one do it.
Yeah, just going to come through and burn.
Assuming that this one's probably going to try to repair the damage on the one that just got damaged. So you got 3 Galvanizers that have set themselves on fire by going through the wall. Another Galvanizer running. So again, Jason really using those choke points on the tables effectively. He's pushed through, taking some damage in order to kind of force the field of engagement in a place where it's very beneficial for him. So you're looking at, like, the line right now is right here.
Right.
Which cedes a whole lot of board
it's pushed it back,
to Jason in terms of, like, where he can get scoring, where he can be in scoring position and stuff like that. So a really strong forward push here, and should give him some definite scenario pressure.
So from watching these guys play before, do you have a general sense of their strategies, their approach?
So, the thing that I've seen Jason play, he's a very technical player. He's very precise in everything that he does. He often, it seems, plays, in my opinion, to scenario.
Sure.
He uses scenario pressure to set himself up in favorable positions. He doesn't typically, in the games that I've seen him play, seem to favor going for an assassination vector immediately.
Right.
So what we're seeing here is kind of very typical Jason. He's very formulaic in terms of knowing the scenarios, knowing where he needs to apply that pressure, and then pushing that pressure onto his opponent and saying, okay, give me an opening. Right? Like, respond to me. I'm either going to go up points, or I'm going to catch you because you're going to have to respond to me, and I'm going to get into an advantageous position where I'm going to get an assassination run.
Right.
I have not actually seen Jay play Grimkin at all outside of the game he played with against Pagani.
Right.
Where Pagani was playing Grimkin and Jay was playing Convergence. So I'm really interested to see what Jay does. I mean, Jay's kind of a renaissance man when it comes to his game. You're always seeing him with a different or a new faction. And he plays, I think, a lot to the strengths of those factions. He's very good at picking the strong combos within a faction, finding out how to exploit them. And he's very good at working his way out of tight spots. And I think, like, right now, if you were kind of looking at the stats projected to win tracker, the spike is skewing towards Watt. He's in very good position right now. He's got a lot of stuff.
It seems like the scenarios are going to be working to his advantage
that
here.
Jay has to answer to at this point, But if there's one thing that you know about Jay, it's that he can problem solve his way out of anything. And so watching how he's kind of going to click and figure out how to maximize his abilities is definitely, I think, really exciting. And the other thing that you can never discount is how powerful those Arcana cards are.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? You're looking at a situation where Jay has the opportunity to heal all of his models from their damage as long as he loses a model. And that's going to happen in this game,
sure.
right? So a misplay there can really swing the fences. You've got the Shadow, which you can't discount because that just throws a piece right on the table that you can't really plan for. You don't know where it's going to come from.
Real unpredictable.
And then, of course, he's got his Trump card, which is going to allow him to really exercise a lot of brute force when it comes down to the time when he really needs to apply it. And again, it's kind of a punishing thing because every time you wind up doing damage, he's going to wind up getting that offensive boost against you.
Right. Do you see any particular interesting synergies in the Heretic army here that Jay can try to exploit?
I mean, he certainly has, in terms of the hitting potential, he has the advantage. He can chew through a lot of those galvanizers, I think, fairly easily.
Right.
Especially once he starts pumping up the skin and bones with soul tokens. It's going to be those souls at a premium, right?
Right.
He's not going to be able to spend them a lot for anything but getting that POW plus strength up. We see Fury being upkept, which is another one of the really powerful abilities that Heretics brings to the table in terms of armor cracking potential. Obviously, you don't really care if your Cage Rager or your Skin and Bones goes down by one death. So Jay's now kind of going into the tank a little bit after deciding he's going to upkeep Fury. All right. So Jay is going to boost a hit with the Gorehound.
Okay.
So needs a 6 to hit. He's just going to try to roll it. Oh. He's going to attack again. Gets it that time. So 17, and it does look like Lucan feated last turn, which I would have expected based on Watt's position. So
everything's going to be harder to kill.
Yeah, everything's going to be plus 4 arm here. And then we see the Gorehound's Animus being used, and he's just kind of getting right in the mix of things. So right into the Galvanizer line, he's sitting right in the middle of Buzzsaw.
Yeah, a lot
Buzzsaw
of
Central, man.
Little buzzsaws.
It's like, that's a crazy party. I don't think I'd do it. So we're going to see a Cage Rager now. He's just going to kind of advance up. All right. And we're going to start seeing some Gibbet swinging here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs 6s to hit. Connects. So he's going to boost damage on the next roll. Arm 20 from Lucan's feet. So it does a decent amount of damage. He buys one, chooses not to beat back, it looks like, although I don't think he really has too much room to go. Misses.
Yeah, they're all pretty crowded in there.
So Jay thus far with some pretty poor dice rolls to start off his turn here.
Yeah.
6s are hard, though. I mean, there's a reason that a lot of players will tell you if you absolutely need a 6, you should boost it.
Right.
I mean, that's just
the dice will always betray you.
They do. They do. Jay's kind of trying to figure out where to go next after that poor performance up behind the house.
Well, I have to imagine those cage ragers don't have as much fun wrecking machines as people.
No,
they're not as fun to smash.
You can't put them in your gibbets. And,
yeah, you can't.
It's just like
can't torment them. Get
it's just a
body
job.
parts all over the place.
It's just a job at that point.
Yeah,
it's not. All right, so it looks like the Skin and Bones is going to get there next. And of course, one of the things that both players have to kind of consider at this point is that each is in kind of strong position right now to score a point on the next turn. See a little game state, getting things mixed back. Jay trying to be pretty careful here and getting the thing in.
Just got to work around that shack.
Yep. And he's right where he needs to be in order to get within range of that galvanizer. And start swinging. All right, go ham, Skin and Bones. So he needs to hit on 5s. He wasn't sure if he could do it, but he did. So this is on the damage one. So it does 5 damage. Because this is Skin and Bones with Fury right now.
Hitting hard.
So with Fury, he's hitting at a 20.
So just damage in.
Just damage straight, yep. So got rid of 1 galvanizer. Does 7 damage to 6 on the other galvanizer that's behind the shed right there. Buys an attack. Now the Skin and Bones realistically should be able to have no problem taking out 2 galvanizers.
Even with the Lucan feet going down?
Yeah, I mean, it's straight dice with the number of attacks that he gets, at the 20.
Yeah.
Galvanizers are, they're not the most robust of little buzzsaw jacks. You just get so many of them. But that Skin and Bones is definitely going to get filled up. So final attack. Needs to not miss here. Does not. So manages to destroy the second galvanizer. So that's 2 galvanizers down thanks to the Skin and Bones.
Right.
No thanks to that worthless cage rager. So Skin and Bones is definitely the cream here. All right. Skin and Bones on the other side is going to use his Animus, which is Lurker. So that'll give him Pathfinder and Bushwhack. So he gets to make his combat action before his normal movement. Oh, did we pull? Nope, looks like we pulled it back. Instead, we're going to have the Frightmare go. Oh, Crabbit. So Crabbit's going to march in there. Is he going to leap?
Yeah. Bouncing Crabbit.
Bouncing Crabbit.
Here it comes.
That's what it sounds like when a Crabbit bounces.
Jumping out of the fields at your face.
I know. You don't want to see that, man. There's like tall grass and everything, and all of a sudden just like toothy rabbit monster comes flying at you.
It's pretty horrific.
I don't care if you're a robot thing or not. That's horrifying for everyone. See some quick measurement on the Frightmare over at the top in the forest right now. I think it's a Frightmare. Actually not. I'm not sure what that is based on the top view now. Oh, there's a Gremlin Swarms. Got it.
Oh, okay.
So he's using the Gremlin Swarms kind of block access to his heavies there from the other galvanizers. You can't overstate the importance of those Gremlin Swarms in terms of what they can do in terms of just board control.
And helping make sure that you don't just get an easy point from a control zone and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, they can contest really well. Obviously, like you guys saw in your game with the Pharaoh Dice versus the Gremlin Swarm, they can just sit on each other and stop scoring from happening. They're very difficult to remove if you don't have easy access to magic weapon. Jason, thankfully, from the objective end, kind of where he is now, does. All right, so we see Fury getting transferred over to the other Skin and Bones that hasn't activated yet. Makes sense. And the firewall gets moved up so that those galvanizers will have to walk through it again.
Right. Keep lighting them on fire.
And then we're going to see the Heretic kind of advance over to the side a little bit, do a little shimmy. Holding his face. He's like, I have to proselytize over here. I'm afraid of that giant steel tower on legs. See the Heretic backing up just a little bit more.
So how are his personal capabilities?
Like the Heretic is a monster.
He can get it done when he needs to, right?
He can beat the crap out of just about anything.
Yeah.
Not as well as he could before the CID, but he's still he's still deadly. I mean, guided alone when you just auto hit.
Yeah,
like
auto hitting is not
you're
bad.
Deaf what? I don't care. It doesn't even matter. I'm a god.
Right.
At least in his own head.
He
crazy.
does consider himself to be
he's
pretty
really
much
just
a god.
the pizza delivery man.
I don't think that's true.
He's an Imran pizza delivery man.
He is basically
with delusions of grandeur.
He is basically a demigod.
I mean, a demigod of 30-minute delivery or less.
What? He is not about pizza delivery.
I think
mean,
that he
in
is.
fact, there is no pizza in Western Imran, so far as I'm aware.
Well, I think you're just not going to the right places.
Although Ord has something similar.
There you go. All right, so we see the furied, lurkered Skin and Moans just beating the ever-living crap out of that Galvanizer that bravely rushed forward to get in the Cage Rager's grill.
Right.
And he is gone now. Again, the feat kind of being erased by the fact that Fury plus the Soul bumps those Skin and Moans up to Power Plus Strength 20 on the attack, and they get oodles and oodles of attacks. All right, now is the Lurker move going to trigger, or is he just going to stand there? You've got to move him somewhere, Jay. There you go. So he's going to back up. So ceding a little bit of the field here.
But he's kind of just keeping to the backfield a little bit there.
Yeah, but I mean, right now, if you look at the table setup, it looks like neither player is going to be in position to score the circle zones. Obviously, I don't even think, outside of using the Heretic, Jay doesn't even have an option.
Right.
Jason can use the Optifex Directive if he wants to try to grab one of those zones, but it doesn't look like they're in position right now. So it's just those center square zones, the rectangles.
Right.
Both players at the moment are in position to score at the end of this second round. And Jay being the second player, this should be the scoring round. So unless Jay has a play to put something in that zone, you can see him kind of measuring. It looks like a Gremlin Swarm is going to bravely run in there.
Sure.
And Gremlin it up. Be mischief makers here.
They don't have much of a sense of personal risk.
No. I mean, they're basically the souls of troublesome children.
Troublesome children, and I think when they get killed, they just sort of probably disperse and come back. Come back later.
It's a minor inconvenience for them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're seeing a proxy base go down, so you can do the Gremlin measurement because this is going to be extremely important here. So it looks like it's good.
It's going to run on in there.
So Gremlin Swarm's going to run in and contest. And that will give Jay a little bit of a bump in the scenario.
He hasn't actually moved it yet.
No.
Though.
I mean, he's got time.
Yeah.
All right, so activate. I'm not sure what he activated. Did you see it?
No.
The Wizard Hut is hiding it right now.
Yes. Something is hiding behind the Wizard Hut. Oh,
there
yeah.
goes a Frightmare.
Little
so Frightmare
Frightmare
taking a shot.
It's going to come up and spit some
miss.
goo on something.
Too much vomiting going on.
Do you have a little noise for that?
Oh yeah, here I got it. Hold on.
There's the Frightmare horking up something.
That's right.
Something
That's
bad.
What it sounds like. It's miserable. Yeah. It's miserable. All right. So a quick measurement on the deviation as long as it's going to hit anything. So I mean, those you can kind of see how even with the feet, right? The Skin and Moans have cleared out a decent amount of push here.
Yeah.
The line has moved back.
It has.
To about here. So Jay made up a lot of good space. And the big thing is we still have this Cage Rager to go. He'll probably wind up pushing up a little bit depending on how afraid he is of that TP, which he has every right to be. We're going to get a Gremlin Swarm we already know going here, and that's going to contest. We have nothing really up here. We've got this Gremlin Swarm that's contesting here with nothing really to threaten it. So right now, it's just these zones that are really the important ones.
And the little mine servitor can't affect the Gremlin Swarm, right?
No, not unless it gets Magic Weapon, which it doesn't really look like it's in a position to do. Based on where definitely based on where the objective is, and right. The Optifex Directive can't just give it Magic Weapon.
Right.
So the Rattler moves up. Rattler's not going to have a day like it did yesterday.
There's not a whole bunch
to chew
whole
through.
bunch of stuff to do a line of death.
Maybe it could get into those servitors and have fun, I
sure.
suppose. Just daisy chain through.
Yeah, overall, I have to think that this battle was probably initiated by Lukent. He's trying to figure out the Grimkin mathematics.
Oh, yeah.
Little imaginary mathematics.
I don't think they have math.
Well, that's what puzzles him, because everything is governed by math in Lukent's world.
Well, I mean, I guess you can have insane math, like gremlin math. Like
I think there is some insane math. Like Lukent may be driven mad by trying to face down the heretic here.
Grimkin math is like 5 + 29 = brown.
Yes, exactly. It's driving Lukent mad.
He was pretty close to begin with. All right, so we have a little bit of an advance back. Interesting. Jay kind of is relying on the Wall of Fire template to help add some extra damage. You can see that Rattler got promoted to Speed Bump, so he's protecting the poor Skin and Moans.
Yes.
Also might be looking to draw out a little bit of a sacrifice target,
so this should be a slightly bloody round, I would think.
So we got Fire going. Does 6 damage to the first Galvanizer. And it looks like the fire on the other one went out. So Jason definitely has some work to do this round.
He's got to take some things down.
Yeah. I think the key for Jason here is can you eliminate the Skin and Moans, because they're the biggest threat that you have to deal with. Obviously, the Cage Raiders with Fury can go up to 20s as well, but their mat's a little lower.
And they have a little bit less movement range too.
Yeah,
right?
They're slower. They're just not. They're not the pure offensive threat that the Skin and Moans are. Of course, like we've talked about, you also have to deal with the fact that Jay still has the shadow, so he can just drop a dude on you from downtown.
Yeah.
From Nightmare Land.
And then Heretic just wills something into being.
Right, and then you've also got to deal with sacrifice. So once you kill something, right now, the first thing that Watt kills, chances are Jay's going to activate sacrifice, and he's going to heal everything else.
Right.
Or at least you have to play with that in mind. So whatever you're going to kill, you better make sure it matters, because you're just going to you're basically going to reset the table by the time that you're done with it.
So is it at the end of Jason's turn here that the points start to?
No, we're on round 3, and Jay went second, so I believe that points would have been scored last turn.
But nobody got anything?
We'll see if we get a... based on the camera angle, it looks like Jay should have scored, but maybe we can get confirmation on that. Because it's hard to tell with that house in the way.
Yeah.
If something's there or not. We'll get a quick confirmation in a moment. So it looks like it's 1-1.
Okay.
Because the Gremlins did not make it into the zone. So each player scored last turn. So they're still kind of a dead heat right now.
Still tied up.
Yeah, still at a dead heat at the moment. All right, so positive charge going up. Positive charge, another one of the big Lukent tricks that he has to really up the effectiveness of his galvanizers. Stolen
from Stryker.
Yeah, well, was it stolen for Stryker? Did Stryker steal it from him?
Yeah, it could be.
Somebody's older.
Maybe
here,
Nemo picked it up, told Stryker about it.
Well, Nemo, we know, was just robbing.
He's hanging out with the Cirrus guys.
Graveyards nonstop.
Breaking into their temples in the middle of the Lely's War somehow, which I still haven't quite figured out in Fire and Forge. But
well, the Nemo Toad is very sneaky.
He was told, go fight a war in Lael, and then just happened into a Cirrus temple, on the way there. I don't know.
When you're Nemo, things just get attracted to you. Sure. Trouble is attracted to you.
There, you just took a little side trip.
All right, so positive charged Galvanizer running up. Going to try to deal with this Frightmare. Positive charge +2 melee attack to melee attack and damage roll as well within 3 inches of the affected model. All friendly faction models gain the same bonus. So
it's a real nice perk.
Yeah, when you're talking about 9 galvanizers, right? All of a sudden those galvanizers go from, Mat 6, POW plus strength 12 with critical grievous to Mat 8 with POW plus strength 14s. It's kind of fun how
both these armies have sort of significant ways to swing the hitting power of their group, their armies.
Yeah. So we see the fire damage roll happening as he runs through the wall of fire. which was a decent roll based on Jay's cam. Frightmare's now dead, just buzzsawed to death.
See, and once again, like, you know, I feel bad for that Frightmare because the Galvanizer doesn't even have a mind. It's like, you know, it can't even be scared by its triple head sprouting
That's true.
action.
It's one true defense. Its natural defenses were rendered inert by Buzzsaw Face.
Buzzsaw to the face, just cutting through all three.
That's how you get rid of it. All right, so the Optifex Directive is going to go. Kind of expect that they're going to advance over. I would expect to see some magical weapons being handed out. If he has a... Yep, magic weapon. So magic weapon goes out. So we got a Galvanizer just running into the center of the circle. Does not get to induct because he has no targets within range. TEP advances forward a little bit. So he really wants to get the gremlins out of the zone.
Really amuses me, the giant TEP going for a gremlin swarm.
Well, you know.
Incorporeal object must destroy.
Oh, yeah, so the weapon modulation also went on the TEP, looks like, in order to allow it to have magical weapons. All right. And so he does eliminate the gremlin swarm with the TEP. And that should give him control of that zone.
But imagine how excited the gremlins would be to get into that TEP and start tearing it up.
Just running around. I mean, that's like a gremlin condominium right there.
Yeah, absolutely. You could fit like about 40 gremlins in that thing.
Like top floor, exciting stuff. All right, so quick check on positive charge. Looks like that other on fire. So you see Watt again just pushing the line of engagement here, using those elimination servitors to basically just be in the way. So it's a big deal with it. Positive charge. See that 3-inch template going down to check it. Fire damage roll as he runs through the wall of fire again.
Okay.
Does 4 damage to the 1, it looks like. All right, so now we're going to buzzsaw ourselves a Rattler. So it needs a 7 to hit. That's not a 7. Blind attack and boost. That's also not a 7. That's a 5. And there's a 7. It's a POW 12 off 6. That's a whole lot of nothing. I don't think they put a buzzsaw blade on that guy.
Yeah, or maybe it's a little dull. It hadn't been sharpened.
I'm pretty sure
somebody was slacking back at the base.
Pretty sure he just had a pizza. just a spinning.
Well, he could have had a different.
Disc.
He could have had a different setting on there. Yeah, could have been like maybe it was like a music disc or something.
Yeah, it was set on massage.
Massage. It was set on smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz.
Lucan likes a little smooth jazz now and then when he's relaxing, doing some math down in the basement.
So Lucan is a dentist, is what I've heard here. All right, so another Galvanizer advancing back. Watt just kind of keeping his keeping some of his force in reserve as he pushes this line forward. See Jason he made the comment he's not going to give him away for free. There was not, so Nekurazul, there's no gremlin in the zone.
Yeah, we thought he was going to do that, but maybe the range didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought they confirmed the range was there, but maybe it wasn't. And you can see how those 2 heavy jacks right now are really blocking the zone using the house here. So again, you're seeing that line of engagement shift Down here, the line for Watt is right here. But he still has this to deal with up here, so the line is more back here. So he still has, Watt still has table control. He's pushed forward. He's used the house here to block. You can see how he's clustered here. Really, a Gremlin Swarm might fit right there, but that's about it. So it's over here, and this Gremlin Swarm's too far away. This one has the opportunity, I think, easily to get in there if it doesn't get dealt with this turn. But, because both this Skin and Moans and this Cage Rager backed up to avoid the TEP threat.
Right.
Pew! 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 Jay kind of ceded that lower circle zone.
So do you feel like Jason's in a bit of a...
Well,
it looks like it's a stronger position to me.
At this point, Jason should go up by 2 control points if what we're hearing from the table is correct, because we got confirmation from the judge that Jason was currently in control of the circle zone, though I'm not sure if that's going to remain true after this. And we know that he still has control of his rectangular zone, and he's put stuff into Jay's zone. So he's blocked him from Jay from scoring this turn.
Right.
So if the information we're getting from the table is correct, and nothing changes as Jason finishes out his turn here, he should go up by 2 to Jay's nothing, which puts him in a strong position.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll see how this finalizes out.
Oh, got a little earthquake going on over there.
You can see Jason kind of straddling the 2 zones there with that conservator's big base.
Yes.
And the house continues to be a problem.
Yes.
It's very earthquake prone. It was poorly built.
Well, we know at one point Dallas was in there playing some heavy metal or something.
That's true. He was doing band practice.
So he could still be in there.
He is the Dallas machine.
He's got the door locked up and is just playing some tunes, working on maybe painting some models in there.
All right. So we've got a quick pause as they're apparently reviewing a rule here.
Okay.
All right, so start a play. It's Jay's turn. Jay is up.
Any idea what they might have been checking on?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear what the rule clarification was. So we can see them kind of discussing about Fury here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just an advance. So quick, they're just basically checking on Jay's Fury here to see if he has to take any Fury checks. The other big thing about the Gremlins in the Dark Menagerie list is that they all have Serenity, so that allows you to play pretty Fury hot.
What does Serenity do
Serenity
again?
allows you to drop 1 Fury.
Oh, nice.
After you leech.
So a lot less likely to be running into frenzies and.
It basically gives you that 1-point swing on all your war beasts, which is pretty huge.
Yeah,
so
especially in a big beast heavy army like this.
Effectively, if you're within 1 inch of a model Serenity, before leeching, you can remove a Fury point from a friendly model.
Right.
So that's kind of like that placement of that Gremlin Swarm not only was blocking the 2 heavy war beasts, but it also provided Jay the ability to Fury manage if he needed it.
Right.
All right. So Crabbit frenzies. All right, so it looks like Jason only scored 1.
Okay.
And that was from his own rectangular zone. So that makes sense to me based on what the models I'm seeing are in there are.
So it's still close.
Yep. Jay should be able to score on his turn, on his zone, and I would assume he should be able to get something in. So Gorehound passes its frenzy check after Crabbit fails. And we'll see what that gives the Gorehound the opportunity maybe to become a contesting piece. And now it comes down a lot to meaningful contesting, right? So what can you put in your opponent's zone if the fight's going to remain on these rectangular zones, which it likely is just based on the Army setups.
Sure.
That is going to be able to last your opponent's turn, right?
Right.
And that's that's a difficult question to answer for both armies because Jay's heavies, which he needs to kind of protect, are doing the defense job in his own zone. And his lights, once you factor in positive charge from Lucan, even those galvanizers are going to be able to handle them fairly well.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Jay responds in this turn, knowing that he's going to basically be down a point every turn if they keep rotating back and forth because of how the turn order goes.
Are most of Jay's heavies still pretty intact? Or?
Yeah, I mean, the Cage Rager and that Skin and Moans closest to us in the camera view.
Yeah.
This guy.
He's pretty much untouched,
and this
right?
guy, they both took damage early.
That's right. The TEP zapped him a little bit.
Yeah, he went, Bazow! Bazow! Bazoo! Not really like that. But, sort of like that.
Sure.
I mean, it was mostly accurate.
What crazy name did we give the TEP's attack?
It's probably like Face Blaster Ray of Math.
Let's see. It's an aperture pulse, I guess.
Sure. So it takes your picture and rips your face off.
Right. They had a lot of fun naming all the convergence attacks.
Yes, they did. All right, so Jay's definitely in the tank right now, trying to figure out what he's going to do. He still has all 3 of his Arcana cards, too.
Yeah.
Oh, we get a clock pause. So we're asking for a judge measurement here. Heretic to the Galvanizer is what they're looking for. So you see our fearless Judge AK in his judge hat.
His jaunty hat.
Mm-hmm. Looks like they're checking line of sight, actually, maybe. So it looks like he does have line of sight. Once the 2 models in the way, the Cage Rager and I'm not sure what that is. Oh, the other Frightmare.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got.
So what's he doing? Is he casting a spell over there? Or?
So we've got. It looks like the Skin in mode. No, not sure. It's behind the house. Okay. So the Gorehound is going to activate, use Ghostly to try to advance.
Right.
And attack that Galvanizer.
Nice. I really thought that that little critter was going to be dead.
Super doop. No, he's good. He loves it. So Spirit is out on him, though. So, I mean, that's kind of significant. There's no forcing happening. Tried to hard roll a 6, didn't get it.
You're right about those 6s.
6s are hard. 6s are hard. All right, so now Jay has to move to his next activation. Both players doing really well on the clock right now.
Yeah, I was just noticing that. They're both been managing their time really well.
All right. We haven't gotten a lot of lore activity from you, Doug.
Well, I've been
so focused.
Focused on the game. But yeah, I do like the Heretic, like I was talking about. That was also one of my favorite pages in the Grimkin book, where we sort of made this sort of like manifesto, biblical manifesto that was crammed with text. You could just imagine the Heretic with his little pages and his pen, just working away, writing.
Oh, a death knell's going to get in there.
Oh, cool!
It's like you get away from my buddy. Does hit and eliminates an elimination servitor. So crazy rickety horse cart comes up, and then zombie horse.
What is the attack? What is the attack on that thing?
It's the zombie horse.
It's the horse.
Yeah.
Because it has a mount, but it also has another attack. Like, is that the little guy up?
You mean
up
the bell? That's just how he angers the horse.
Okay.
That's all he's doing. He's just angering that horse. So I mean, you got the rickety cart, and then you've got the mount.
The death knell, though. Yeah, what is that?
That's the whole thing.
It's just the thing smashing into you.
It basically gives you a splinter
as
it rides past.
Yeah,
it's a really nasty splinter. All right, so
now are its abilities able to prevent repairing or only healing?
It prevents damage from being removed, so it's the same thing.
So it works on these guys too.
Yep.
I wonder what that's all about. I wonder how that works. It's an entropic force.
Yeah.
So it's basically you try to get in there with your wrench, maybe your tools break.
Yep. The metal gets really soft and
and
you
get where you strip the a screw just won't even.
Yeah, it won't even work. It's just all mushy.
Yeah, everything becomes mushy around the death knell.
All right, so Rattler hits on the galvanizer. It looks like does nothing. Misses on the next shot. 6s are hard still. Misses again.
Man.
Buys an attack. Finally hits on a 6. And gets a good roll for once. Ooh, that should have gone slightly differently.
Yeah.
So free strike. Happens because he's going to use the overtake on the Rattler, it looks like, after destroying the galvanizer.
One of the interesting things is to think about, the Wicked Harvest applying to the convergence, because I guess they're subject to sins too. Like you could get greedy.
Like math sins?
Math sins. Well, they're just, improper use of authority.
All right. The problem is that there's really not a whole lot of souls to reap here.
Well, you get those little soul lunch boxes.
This is a pretty, but there's no.
You mean on the table here?
I mean, come on.
Well, I don't think this list is great for them.
This is a fallow field for them.
But maybe
they showed up to the party and they were like,
but I bet you anything that Optifex directive, those guys are all wicked.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, they're probably terrible people.
Yeah.
They just build little sentient robots to torment all the time. They're like, AI isn't alive. Deal with it.
But yeah, all the convergence warjacks are not so useful to the Grimkin. They're just machines direct on your way to the juicy targets.
Well, it's all about Lucan, right? But now, would he consider, allowing the Heretic into their exclusive robot club?
No. But I think he just wants to figure him out. Like I said,
he'll take Magnus. They'll take Magnus, who's a junkyard mechanic, but they won't take a demigod. They won't put him in a bottle.
The problem is I don't think he'd fit. His power is so chaotic. So I think that the nature of somebody like the Heretic, it couldn't undergo that process. Couldn't convert.
I think this
into
sounds like
a
discrimination,
machine.
Is what it sounds like to me.
No, I just think he's become too big. He's too powerful. Now maybe he could fit in a larger,
a bigger container
apparatus.
I see.
Something like the I'm blanking on the name of it right now, but there's the
place where they plug in all the brains.
Yeah, they plug in all the brains.
What is that? The Constellation or something?
Yeah, the Constellation. So maybe he could fit in something like that, but he'd probably be really dangerous.
I see.
No, I think the Heretic is like a flaw in mathematics itself. So Lucan needs to eliminate him to make this whole area more predictable.
So he's pi. Is that what I'm hearing?
He's probably messing up the ley lines.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he has no regard for ley lines.
Yeah, I think the Grimkin in general are probably a big thorn in the great work.
All right, so Krabbit comes in, tries to attack that elimination servitor, fails miserably apparently. So Jay's dice just won't give him anything. So Jay moving some Fury tokens over to the Gorehound, because Gorehound advanced into the zone. All right, so we're going to see
some action up here on the north side.
We're going to get some gibbet action. Gibbets.
I would expect to see more machines getting wrecked. They don't have Lucan's feet to protect him anymore.
No, so he'll be +1 on the dice if he can hit, which is a big if at this point.
Right.
He needs 6s. So we are going to see a beat back this turn. So that'll move the galvanizer back 1 inch. Let him follow up an inch. Probably going to try to use beat back to get into a position where he can take on the other galvanizer as well. So Watt was like, I'm pretty sure you'll kill him in 1 hit. And Jay was like, I don't think so. Then he rolled 3 damage, and Watt was like, maybe you won't kill him at all. All right, so buys another one.
See how this goes.
Hits. 7 more points. So Jay deciding if he's going to beat back. He's going to check really quick to see if the move is optional.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So, and I believe it is a can, and it is a can. So he doesn't have to make the advance up. So
why would he not advance?
Well, it puts the galvanizer out of melee. It also potentially, depending on where Jay's next activation is going to happen,
lets him keep
lets him stay out of a charge lane or anything like that, which is what it looks like is happening right now.
I see.
Like if I look at it, you don't want the Cage Rager to move up further because then he's going to block
other models.
Because right now you've got this sweet little 2-man formation for the Skin and Moans to come in
That's
and
true.
Start wrecking. It's like, hey guys, I'm the Kool-Aid man.
So he just kind of smashed the machine back,
yeah,
sent
he's
it
just
flying.
Like, all right, you do it. I'm tired now.
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna hang out here.
Look, Steve, Skin and Moan Steve, you're weird. Just go kill him. There he goes. Skin and Moan busting like the Kool-Aid man.
I have to say, the Skin and Moans is one of my favorite looking of the Grimkin models. He's
awesome.
Great.
He's so fun to paint.
Yeah.
All right, so only needs 5s here. Hits, does it. Whammo. No Fury, though, so only at +1. Manages to destroy 1 Galvanizer. Buys an attack. The first of many, I'm sure. Hits no problem on an 11. 9 damage is real good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Keep rolling 8s.
Yeah, you're right about those Skin and Moans. They're
Skin and Moans are getting the work done, right?
Yeah.
Like those are the models. Those are the pieces in this list you really have to remove first, and then you need to move on to the Cage Ragers. And I mean, these are Skin and Moans with just 1 soul on them, right? Like they haven't even pumped up to full potential.
Right.
So 2 Galvanizers go down from the Skin and Moans.
But yeah, I think their appearance was kind of inspired from the, one of the first Grimkin creatures, the Gristle and Flay that we did in the old Monsternomicon, the old black and white Monsternomicon.
Have not made an appearance.
No, I'd love to see
them
in the sort of the combined creatures. One of which is the skin, another is the sinew, and then they apparently have a third brother that's the bones. It's been missing.
He
or
doesn't
something.
get invited to the party though.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
He's off doing his own thing.
I could see, Matt trying to get that in the game and coming up with really complex rules where they could combine together.
True. They could form
separate.
Voltron.
Yeah. Do another Bethane Balthor thing.
Yeah, little flesh melding action. Together we are powerful. All right, so we got another judge measurement coming in here. You know the one that I missed from the initial cut.
Yeah.
When we were talking about it was the guy who rode the donkey backwards.
I don't remember that. No, I don't remember that. I don't think I heard about that.
I don't remember what his story was, but yeah, we were going to make this Cav solo model, and
it was riding backward.
It was just this sad noble who rode a donkey backwards.
What kind of powers did the backward donkey rider have?
I don't think he ever got that far.
Okay,
I think it was just a concept.
I know they came up with lots of wacky concepts.
This would be really cool, and then they were like, "Yeah, we'll cut that one first."
Yeah, maybe
we don't know
later.
what to do with that.
Yeah.
So maybe someday you'll see a dude riding a donkey backwards.
I could see that being like a caster attachment or something.
Yeah,
like he's back there, maybe
holding
the bags. He's got the luggage.
Doesn't know how to ride his donkey. His punishment. He must always go in reverse.
But like if you get it pointed the right way, then the donkey's just nasty.
Right. Oh yeah, the donkey's probably terrifying. Breeze fire has like super sharp teeth. Just one giant monster. So they're looking for a line of sight right now. And it's serious because AK dropped the top hat. So
yeah.
He's really getting down in there. Vingins, if I'm saying your name correctly on the chat, there is going to be a Christmas Grimkin next year. It will not be the dude riding a horse backwards.
Probably not. Backwards. No.
We've already got concept art drawn for him, and it's real cool.
I don't think I've seen that. I'll have to do some looking around.
Yep. It's pretty crazy looking. I think people will be excited. I think people will be excited. And of course, you've also got Holden to look forward to if you're a
Holden's
player.
Great.
And that's before Christmas, so you
still
basically like 2 Christmases.
Feel sad about what happened to Holden.
Well, you know what? You can blame the players.
There was some betrayal going on.
There was some serious betrayal. It was like, oh, everybody can have a toy, or Grim can have a toy. Right. Grimkin, all yours.
Yep.
I mean, really, you could just blame Pil Wagani for that, because he was the reason that it happened.
Sure.
All right, so
what's going on here?
Jay basically did a throw here.
Oh, nice.
I think.
Is that a Frightmare throw? Or no, it's a. Is that a Rattler over there?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but he removed the last model that was contesting.
Okay.
Which was that servitor.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not, because they were pretty quiet on the table, I'm not entirely certain.
Let me check. Oh wait.
Because it was definitely it wasn't the Rattler, it was definitely the Cage Rager, because the Cage Ragers continued to make attacks.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm not sure what that final thing was, but let's see a quick measurement of threat range to the conservator here. So we have the Skinamones activating now. You're going to swing.
Take that little servitor out.
Yep. Got to clear a zone. There's a lot of servitors in there.
Yep.
So got it. So that should mean that Jay is going to score a point this turn. He has taken out all of the stuff that went in there.
The TEP can make more servitors, right?
So the TEP can make its own servitors.
I see.
The Prime Axiom is the one that has the launch bays where it can keep shooting out more and more servitors every turn. But I mean, technically, yeah, the TEP makes its own servitors every time.
Just
so
the ones
even
that
when
are
you
adjusting.
even when you destroy his, it pops them back out.
Right.
All right, so Heretic advances into the woods. Is going to use the Cage Rager to cast Hex Blast as a channeler. Let's see a quick measurement to see
if he's in the range.
If he's still within. So still in. All right. So head 6, going to use...
He used most of his Fury on.
Yep. So he's going to boost damage after hitting with the Hex Blast. So off 3. Well, 3 to 3. Not super impressive there.
Not great.
I don't know what the play is there. All right, so we've got the Gremlin Swarm. Looks like it's going to run. So just kind of getting in position here. That house is still rocking.
Yep.
Abracadalis and
the Abracadalis is
the
in there.
Metal Maidens apparently are still like jamming out in there.
Oh yeah.
All right, so it'll be the end of Jay's turn. Jay will score a point. Jason will not because of the Gorehound that is currently contesting.
Well, this is definitely
and
looking
it will go to
tight.
2-2. This one may go to clock at this point. I mean,
yeah.
And that took a lot of. Jay lost a lot of time off his clock in that turn, but he got a lot of work done.
That's true.
Right now, I would definitely say that the attrition is favoring Jay. He's taken out a number of galvanizers.
Yeah. How many do we have left over there?
I count 1, maybe 2, 3 out of the 9. So
wow.
6
yeah.
galvanizers down, I think. But you've still got a TP. You've still got 2 heavies. And Jason's checking to see if he advances the TP forward to that position.
See what he can get. Yeah.
Can he hit the Rattler, the objective, and the Skin and Bones?
Nice.
So they're going to do a quick proxy base because the Rattler's kind of in the way. And player's just kind of figuring out the positioning here.
It looks like it's close.
Pulling it back. Looks like that's kind of where he's going to have to wind up.
Yeah.
So Reflex Servitor still dug in. So it looks like Jason is going to try to kill the Cage Rager and get the objective this turn. He's going to have to be careful with how he does this because he's got to not trigger Sacrifice at the wrong time.
Right. I forgot about Sacrifice.
It's an easy one to forget about, but yeah, Sacrifice, and then you still, of course, have Shadow to deal with too.
Right.
So.
Because it looks like he's going to get that southern zone without too much trouble, but.
All right. So Jason doing some quick pre-measurements, make sure that his jacks can get over to the Cage Rager. Asking for a quick double check from Jay. Make sure that there's not any contention about that. And Jay certainly says that there isn't. We talked a bunch about that line of engagement and how it's moved throughout this game, and now you're seeing that, you know, Jay has pushed it all the way down to here, and then you've got it kind of over to here at this point. So
yeah, it's definitely been.
It's been shifting back and forth. Jay really, though, is in control up here. Jason doesn't have really anything to send that way. Now, to Jason's benefit, he doesn't have to worry about Jay scoring on that circle zone.
Right.
Because Jay literally has nothing except his Warcaster, who is moving that way.
Right.
So I think, you know, Jay's probably seen that opportunity, and that's why the Heretic shifted over.
Right.
You know, so it'll be interesting to see if Lucan does the same thing, because right now that lower circle zone is definitely more in Jason's hands. And Lucan certainly is in a position to capitalize on that, as Lucan is right here and about to be moved. Oh, he moved him out of my circle. Curses. Oh, it's focus everywhere. Everywhere. Okay, so the Corollary is going to dump its focus off onto the Conservator, it looks like. So Reflex Servitor is going to charge.
Nice. He's a brave little servitor right there.
And
somebody lovingly made a bunch of little punch cards to program that little guy and what to do.
Yep. They're just like, you blow up.
Get as close to the biggest thing you could find and then blow up.
So pretty good damage roll there from that little reflex servitor that blew up.
Countless hours of coding went into that little movement.
They're just punch cards, Doug. They can just pre-manufacture them. They've got a big press. They just press them out. The first guy, sure.
He had some special routines in there. Lucan doesn't take the mass-produced.
No,
servitors.
everything has to be artisan.
He puts a little work in there, a little of his own special sauce.
All he does is he takes the stock ones and he takes a little blowtorch and he singes the edges to make it look a little burnt.
Little cut,
and then he doubles the
paste.
price. He's like, it's artisan. Look at its welding burns.
Yeah.
Those are the same ones out of the bargain bin, okay?
No.
You just take the same ones, they don't matter.
All right, so what's going on?
All right, so we've got the conservator charging now. So going to induct back to the inverter.
I'd have a hard time playing convergence. There's so many little things to keep in mind.
Building gets tapped again. Again, blame Pil Wagani for that. He's the one who set up the table.
So would that be pretty common with a scenario like this where you have...
It's certainly encouraged now in the Steamroller scenario dock to have an array of terrain placed like this, to have meaningful terrain in the center of the engagement zone.
Right, to kind of make sure that there's not one route.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, like, if that building wasn't there or if there was just a hill in the center of the table, this game would not nearly be as challenging or as interesting for either of our players. They'd just be a big scrum in the middle.
Yeah, they're really having to work around those obstacles.
So having these meaningful choices where you have choke points, where you have things that block line of sight, where you're forcing people to actually play the scenario and the table, I think, in the end, just makes the game more enjoyable. It's more truer to the experience that everyone's coming to here, right?
Sure. And I think it to me, it does make it feel more narrative, too.
Yeah.
Especially in some situations.
Most battles aren't fought over a just blank, wide open
field with a hill on it or something.
All right, so Conservator charges in. He's going to try to stab himself a Cage Rager.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think this Cage Rager's been kind of, mustering his strength, getting ready.
And unfortunately for Jason right now, his ability to roll sixes is also
they've both been
low, but the Cage Rager's def is only 10. So, it doesn't matter.
A little easier to
he's just a big
thing.
I mean, he's a huge dude with
wall of meat with a...
Yeah. He's basically a moving barn. All right, so Cage Rager's still standing. Probably not for much longer. So POW 14 with positive charge right now, because positive charge is on the Conservator, which actually boosted its mat up even further.
Right.
So we see an induction over, which they pre-measured. This galvanizer is going to get in there. I mean, you can see how robust those Cage Ragers are with their ARM 19 and 32 boxes, right? Like,
yeah, they're real tough.
Just big slabs of meat.
Yes.
That's a good roll.
Who do you think's making their little clothing, the Cage Ragers? They've got like a nice little...
I mean, isn't it all just imagined? Isn't this just like... the Heretics is like, cover your shame.
Cover your shame. Have a nice skirt.
I mean, they're just clothed in inky darkness.
Okay.
Yeah. And the sad wailings of the world, of their victims. All right, so that Cage Rager still is alive.
Man.
Oh, wait. No, is the Cage Rager dead? Must be dead, because I see Sacrifice just got played.
Oh.
I think. Something died. There we go. All right, so Cage Rager comes off. Sacrifice is activated.
So
everybody else gets healed. And you saw that was not insignificant on a few of those models.
How much healing do they get off of that?
All of it.
All of it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's gross.
That is damned good.
Yes. Yeah, it's gross. So.
Which is your favorite Grimkin Warlock to play?
So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I like the Heretic. I think that he's really strong.
King of Nothing
probably
seems really interesting.
The Wanderer.
Yeah, the Wanderer is
The Wanderer is
good.
probably my favorite.
His
That model is
movement,
amazing.
craziness.
Yeah, and I like how different he is. Right.
Yeah, he almost feels like a circle caster.
He has no attack that can do damage. It just makes you easy to see for everyone else.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thoroughly enjoy the Wanderer. I think he's really cool. And the Child, obviously, like I admit I'm not a great strategic player. I usually just like to go beat things in the face.
Sure.
So the Child is really great for that.
Right.
You know, she really likes taking a lot of heavy war beasts. She's very aggressive, can play up front really effectively. So the Child is definitely one of those ones where I feel drawn to.
Sure. So what's going on here?
So right now, what's being discussed is that if he takes a free strike from the Gorehound, and the Gorehound gets to pull when it hits with its tongue, can the pull actually happen?
Oh, I see.
Because of where he would be when the free strike happens and the ruling on. Because he's staying base to base, and the pull only pulls you until you're in base to base.
Right.
So Will Pagani, our fearless dev, and Grimkin Man, is now being asked, and he's doing his Pagani thinking face, which involves a lot of sighs, a lot of deep breaths, and sounds a lot like this. He puffs up like a bullfrog.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he lets it out.
Thinks better with all that air pressure in the head.
Yep. He's got to oxygenate those brain cells, those massive, sexy brain cells. Just fill them up with Genius O2, Pagani.
And I'd imagine at this level of play, it's not too uncommon for something to happen that's a little outside the scope of your normal
certainly
rules.
There are definitely interactions where the rules as intended are not quite as clear.
Yeah. Or somebody gets in a situation where they can take advantage of
just looking at the ruling of pull itself.
Yeah.
My interpretation would be if you never move away, like if you never move away base to base, then when you get hit with the tongue, the pull would happen, but if you're already base to base, it would pull you nowhere.
Yeah.
The real wrinkle is, what does that mean for the rest of the movement if you're not destroyed?
Right.
Technically, you should still get to do it, which means that you've moved nowhere. But we'll see if the fabulous Will Pagani can come in and figure it out.
Yeah.
I do make a lot of sounds. Yes, that's how I think.
They're still in discussion.
Yep, and there's the shot. There's the trouble shot right there.
Yeah.
That fabulous Gorehound.
And its super long tongue.
And its grabby tongue.
It's grabby tongue.
Like a chameleon. Much like chameleons, if you put anything in the Gorehound's hands, it will immediately grab it.
Those are some nicely painted armies.
They are.
Even in these zoom-ins, they just look so good.
They look gorgeous, yeah. Watt's army colors have always been one of my favorite convergence schemes that I've seen.
It's great.
Period.
And it's kind of, it's a color scheme that I think they could sort of slip in behind a Signarin army, and they might not notice right away. They'll just they've got all the voltaic action going on, and you might just think Nemo's got some special machinery coming through.
Yeah? Is that what you think? Just all Nemo, and then all of a sudden it's robot people?
Well, I think they could pull a little stealth maneuver.
Okay, so it looks like we have our judgment. What was your call? What was the call? So he doesn't get a move. He does get to move. So it sounds like the final discussion was that because he moves base to base, the whole time when the pull happens, it doesn't do anything to him. So he does get to move. So. And that will be the end of the Gorehound as he gets buzzsawed to death. So, that servitor just went balling. Yeah. He just decided he wasn't going to play anymore. He's like, I'm going over here now.
I see in the thread they're asking if Nemo is robot people in disguise, and I'd say no, he is not. But he does like their technology.
He likes their technology, but he very clearly is anti-robot.
Yeah,
people.
he's actually come out pretty strongly.
He's a robot racist.
He's come out pretty strongly against the Convergence's soul transfer mechanism. He's convinced it is necromancy, and he considers the Convergence to be basically a death cult. Because you have,
but they're a fancy death cult.
You have to now. The Convergence would say we're not dead; we get to live forever in a machine body.
Right.
But from Nemo's point of view, you can't get there unless you die.
See, now what they're saying is don't judge a book by its cover. That's it.
They're saying that just because we're dead, doesn't mean we're undead.
Oh, I see. That sounds suspicious.
We may have died, but now we are machines and are still alive, sort of. Living machines.
All right. I don't know if I buy it, but I can see the brochure.
Well, the fact that Mortenebra, was kind of involved in those early days. Well, I'm just saying, like there is a good argument to be made that the process of becoming an Iron Lich is not that different from becoming a Clockwork.
Don't you have to jump into a volcano for that to happen, though?
No. That is how Asphyxius did it, but that is not the normal routine.
Well, if that's how the OG did it, then I feel like that's what you have to do, like jump into volcanoes.
I think that usually doesn't work. I think most guys who jump in volcanoes do not become Liches.
It doesn't succeed?
No. You just wind up as a sad little burnt corpse.
Crisp.
Yeah.
All right.
We got some TP shots coming out.
We do. So Jason trying to take out the objective and potentially do some decent damage on that Skin and Moans. So dice -9. That is a great roll. So 9 points in the objective, leaves it half dead, basically.
The question came up, don't they transfer their souls to the construct before they die? They were trying to make that work, but you kind of have to die for it to fix, for the soul to actually make it over.
Well, they used to make it all peaceful, like they played your smooth jazz music
and
stuff. Yeah. And that didn't work. So they realized that you just basically have to fry that dude.
And Lucan was the one who kind of made that final transfer and made it work. But as far as Lucan is concerned, he fixed the problem that Mortenebra was running into, making it a more seamless process, and that does not involve necromancy. But there's definitely some argument to be had there.
All right, so the objective is destroyed, so that will immediately give Jason a point.
Nice.
Unfortunately, his damage rolls on the Skin and Moans were less than stellar, so I think the Skin and Moans is feeling actually really good right now. So we've got the directive going to try to score a point in the circle zone.
So here we go. It's coming up on the board. Now he's got his point.
Well, that was the boombox guy. That's the algorithmic dispersion optifex. So now the directive are going to run. They're going to run into the zone. Yep.
Overall, probably one of the worst jobs in the Convergence.
I mean, isn't it like entry level?
It's very entry level.
Wait, which one? The boombox guy? Yeah.
you're still alive. They hand you one of those. They get you suited up.
Right.
You're probably
like,
in a lot of peril.
Go as far forward as possible.
Head toward the enemy and point this stick
and
at him.
Blare some math music.
Yeah. It's not a good place to be.
All right, so looks like Jason is now set up to score 3 points this round. So 1 from the objective, and he's going to get 2 from the zones.
So you're
That'll
still
be once his turn ends.
You're still thinking Jay's in a strong position here.
So Jay's got some trouble now.
Yeah.
He's got some trouble, but I don't think that he's out of it. There's still 3 rounds to go. There's a lot of game left to be played.
Still got his.
He still has both Skin and Moans. He lost a Cage Rager. I think that Rattler's going to have the opportunity to go ham.
Jason just got a point.
Should be 1 for the objective. He started at 2, right? 1 for the objective, 1 for the zone, 1 for the zone. Because he scored both zones. He's got the directive in the circle zone. So I'm pretty sure 5-2. All right.
Double checking on the points.
Yeah, we're just getting a quick confirmation. I believe that Jason scored 3 that round, so it should be 5-2.
Okay.
So 5-2, yep. Jason was able to score both the circle zone at the bottom of the screen and his own rectangular zone.
Strong round for Jason, right?
It was a big swing. Jay, if to Jay's point though, he has managed to keep the race close.
Yeah.
If Jay hadn't been able to get up to 2, he'd be definitely feeling it.
Right.
But Jason needs to stop Jay from scoring this turn, which I don't think he's going to be able to do.
Right.
Because he doesn't have much meaningful contesting in the zone right now. And he would still have to score 2 more to get to the sudden death condition of 5 more than Jay. So, yeah, I don't think that Jay's in a predicament here.
Right.
But he definitely has the pressure on him, right? And like we talked about this at the start, this is what Jason seems to do in his games. In every game that I've seen, he applies that scenario pressure consistently.
Right.
And constantly.
Forcing his opponent to make some tough decisions.
Yeah, and thus far, you've seen Jay's gotten, I think, the upper hand in the exchanges as that pressure has been applied. But because of how many models that Jason has in his list and the fact that the galvanizers are somewhat expendable, you can see that slow burn has started to really push itself
he's
now.
Definitely been slowly
and I think
moving things in his direction.
And the other big point to it is that Jason hasn't lost any of his key pieces. He still has the TEP at full health. He still has the conservator at full health. Still has the inverter, right?
Right.
He has the pieces he needs to be able to deal with Jay's larger and more critical points. And going back to that line of engagement that we've talked about a number of times, right? Jason has pushed it kind of right to here. And even when you start looking at how it splits off, it's more like up here.
Right.
So the line's gone back and forth, but Jason has really kept it in his favor for most of this game. And you also have to count that servitor that ran over to kind of contest the circle zone from the Heretic. The real question is, what can get to it right now? Because it is way out of the way. And anything that goes for it is going to be really pulled out.
Right.
So right now we're looking at a Hex Blast, right? That's the 10-inch key.
Okay. The Heretic's channeling a spell through potentially to.
So it looks like he's just barely outside of the 10 inches.
Wow.
Which is going to require the Cage Rager to actually move over in that direction if Jay wants to be able to score that.
Right. But I think the fact that those Krabbits are still alive is pretty much the main advantage at this point, wouldn't you say? The Krabbits are going to ultimately win the game.
I mean, you can't stop the Krabbits. Wait, it's the wrong sound. Here we go. Those Krabbits are gearing up.
Oh yeah,
gearing up.
A Krabbit can scare even a Clockwork Priest.
I mean, of course, that thing mathematically shouldn't be alive. He's going to look at it and be like, "How do you close your mouth? You can't even chew food." They're like lampreys.
They're very.
They just
freaky.
attach on.
And I think Lucan had a pet rabbit when he was a wee lad, and he was very fond of it. He had a rabbit named Pinky when he was growing up.
All right, so we're seeing the Rattler doing, what Rattler does.
Yeah.
And he's just daisy chaining through everything. That'll do. So dies. Goes again. So he backs up an inch, not deciding to contest the zone. And you see Jay's hands got to have a little bit of a shake. And one of the things that Jay always talks about before he goes on live stream is he's always so nervous about playing the cleanest game possible.
Right.
On the stream, right? And all these guys at this level are very clean players. You know, they're very specific, but
very careful.
Yeah, it just adds to that kind of like nervousness of the game and everything that's going on and wanting to be perfectly precise, and it leads to a little bit of that handshake that you're seeing.
Sure.
All right. So Skin and Moan's taking down a Conservator. I don't think that this is going to be too much of a problem as long as Jay's dice don't suddenly abandon him. And that is a dead Conservator.
You got him?
Yep. So we're going to see the Death Knell go in on the damaged Galvanizer now.
Nice.
Death Horsey for the win.
I like to see the Death Knell on the attack run.
Well, and the thing with the Death Knell is that it has finisher. So
yeah.
I mean, when it goes after something that's wounded, that Death Horse just goes crazy.
Spilling coffins and pumpkins everywhere.
All right, so in it goes. Puts a corpse over onto the Skin and Moans. All right, so Death Knell manages to finish off with finisher, a Galvanizer. So Jay doing some good work down on that side.
Yeah.
Has at least stopped the scoring from happening on his turn.
Battle engine on battle engine action.
I mean, not yet, but maybe we might get there. We might get there. I don't know if rickety like corpse wagon versus sophisticated camera death machine.
I have to imagine that Lucan looks on that Death Knell with tremendous disdain.
I have no doubt
for its engineering properties.
I mean, he's like, what did they stick that thing together with?
Like, couldn't they even have 4 wheels? I mean, I don't know.
No, it's 2. It's 2, and the ballast
very
provided by that
horse.
Tiny dude on the top. Well, I mean, yeah, that horse, there's nothing sadder than that horse. There's also nothing more ferocious
so
than
do you think that horse used to be a person?
Did it used to be a person?
Could have been. I mean, if it's a Grimkin.
I don't know if that's a person horse.
But, I mean, it's a Grimkin.
Is it like a reject Frightmare? Like
Maybe.
they were trying to make a Frightmare and it messed up, and they're like, all right, well, you're a Death Knell horse now.
Maybe it was somebody who would never they would never do their share of pulling the load.
I see. Oh, so now they have to pull the Death Knell load?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say somebody who was like awful to animals.
No, well, that could be. But no, I think this is somebody who never did any hard work.
I see. So now they must be a
horse. Now they got to pull the Death Knell
around.
Pull
the Death Knell cart? I mean, you know what? You're the lore master. If that's what you say, I'm going to go with it. But all right, so boosted Hex Blast into the Respec Servitor. Hits, auto kills, that clears the zone.
Yep.
Cast Lurker's Animus, or the Skin and Moan's Animus to give himself Pathfinder. Is going to advance up to get the Servitor in melee range so he can take out that one. Jay's looking to answer back with 2 points of his own here. Hits with Guided and auto kills because that's how the Heretic do.
Yes.
Skin and Moans advances up, comes around the house, says peekaboo.
Oh, yeah.
The most horrifying game of peekaboo ever.
Looking pretty
scary
over here.
And already, going back to my favorite thing, the line of engagement, all of a sudden our line of engagement is right here with this one little guy just hanging out.
Yeah.
Being like, I'm cool. too many dice.
Well,
so
we
he's
have
going to re-roll the whole thing.
We have some real threat on Lukent could happen.
Lukent's definitely getting pressured. I mean, Jason's running out of models, which we already talked about. He's up in the CP game. Heretic is fairly safe right now based on his position from the house because the TEP might be able to get to him. It's kind of, yeah, I think the TEP can definitely draw a line of sight to him next turn.
And Jay's clock is
winding down. But he's put himself in pretty good position at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this
Here
is
comes the
looking good.
Frightmare, going to shoot. So you're going to shoot the corollary with the Frightmare. So winds up hitting nothing as it misses. The Furied Up Crabbit comes over.
Oh, yeah, here
just
come
to
the
get in the
Crabbit.
way. He's not even in range, Doug.
But he's moving. He's getting in
looking
position.
menacing. he's doing one of.
He's getting
doing
ready.
one of these.
Yeah, that Crabbit's ready.
He's ready. He's very scary. He's very powerful.
I have to imagine
the
the servitors are probably really tempting to a Crabbit, kind of like they would be to a cat. See one of those servitors floating by, you got to jump for it.
All right, and then we have a Gremlin Swarm like running away.
Yeah, how this is kind of shifted around here is pretty interesting.
As Barsky Mannon has pointed out in the chat, that Crabbit is Shadow Bait special, which is entirely accurate at this point.
Yes, that's true. Hey, maybe you want to kill this Crabbit.
You just have to walk into the Crabbit. You don't even have to kill it. You just have to get close to it. And he's like, I'd like to introduce you to my Shadow. It's a Skin and Bones.
Yeah, it's not really a Crabbit.
Spoiler alert, it's a Skin and Bones.
Or that would be basically a Skin and Bones sized Crabbit.
All right, so quick measurement on Lukent to the Gremlin Swarm. They're within 5 inches. So Jason's turn. He's got to do focus allocation. He's got a decent amount of time on his side at this point and very few models to activate. But those models can do a lot of stuff.
So did Jay get some
Jay
points?
Looks to me like Jay should have scored 2 because he would have gotten the circle zone because of the Heretic at the north, and he would have gotten his own rectangular zone on his side of the board. So should be looking at 5-4 Jason at this point. See if they bump that up. All right, so there's a quick judge clarification for measurement that if the TEP aims and targets the Frightmare, can he hit all 3, the Skin and Bones, the Frightmare, and the Rattler? All right, so we're asking for a proxy base. Get the Rattler out of the way. Looking for another proxy base for the Skin and Bones so that they can get that template as perfect as possible to see if it's hitting all 3.
Does look like that'll be hitting them all.
So it's only going to get 2.
Oh, it's only 2?
According to the judge rules, it's going to miss the Skin and Bones, it looks like. I think it misses the Skin and Bones. I'm not sure, but they've said only 2. So whichever 2 those are. We'll find out here in a second. So it looks like Jason's not going to be able to aim. He's asking for damage left on the Skin and Bones. So Skin and Bones is at 20. So he's taken 8 points so far. Or sorry, his armor's at 20. Wait.
Is he?
I'm not entirely sure what the 20 meant. I thought he was asking for damage, but I don't think that Skin and Bones should have any damage on him. We'll find out. Oh, yeah. His arm would be at 20 right now from the death knell and his corpse tokens.
Ah, okay.
So I think that's what the 20 referred to.
Right, because the death knell grants it
like
an armor
Correct.
aura.
So well within 4 inches of the model, which definitely has a +2 arm.
Right.
And that Skin and Bones, I believe, has 2 corpses on it right now. So, all right, so we're going to see So arcing Disillusion Bolt onto the Gremlin Swarm, trying to eliminate that with its magical shot. Hits. POW 12. Gremlin's Armors 12. Dead Gremlin Swarm. So that Gremlin Swarm gets Dissolution Bolted to death.
Yes.
Lucan's like, get out of here.
So how does Warmth of the Grave work, you think?
Grimkin like being around dead things.
It just makes them harder to hurt?
It just makes them feel happy. They're warm inside.
When they're happy, they're harder to hurt.
Yeah, they feel warm inside. They're like, oh, I want to stick around. I feel so comfy. It's like being in a nice shower.
I see.
All right, Lucan kind of advances away here.
Trying to get away from that Skin and Bones, chasing him down.
Yep. He's deciding that discretion is a little better part of Valor here.
Yeah. Skitters sideways.
Skitters away.
On his spider legs.
So Corollary going after the Skin and Bones like a champ.
All right.
So slams him. Woo! 3 inches. So that'll clear that zone. Corollary getting it done.
Wow.
It's like kaboom!
Take that. That is a brave Corollary.
That Corollary knows what's up.
I guess they don't have any actual inherent thoughts or emotions, but I feel proud of that Corollary anyway.
Look, I mean, Supercharged Battery just came out of nowhere and slammed into that thing. Servitors coming out. So looking for a charge here. So it looks like that inverter is looking for its charge distance after the TEP. All right. So doing some quick checks here. So another judge measurement coming in here as they try to determine if the charge lane is available.
That just has to do with the space to get through that little zone.
Yeah, well, I think right now, so Jason's trying to place his servitors for the TEP for it to shoot, or having already shot. What will that mean for the charge lane for the inverter?
I see.
And so you can see AK,
it's a narrow
our fearless
squeeze.
judge in there. Exactly. Because you got a Crabbit, you got a Rattler, you've got that model in the way. So quick check, and that will be clear. So. So AK just doing one more check, but it looks like that placement will be clear. All right, so it looks like they're good. That will be the placement. And, all right. So, okay, so the Skin and Bones does have 20 health left as well.
Oh, okay. And pretty high armor at the moment.
Yeah, just asked that. So, all right, so here we go. shots from the TEP. So he's going to get 4 dice damage on the Frightmare. It's -5, pretty good roll. It's going to be 8 damage to the 6. Comes the second spray. Does hit the Rattler. Misses the Frightmare this time. Holy cow, that's a good roll.
Yeah.
So 17 points to the Rattler.
Ouch.
Yeep. So there go a couple of aspects.
Oh.
All right, so Frightmare has 4 left, and the Rattler, I believe Jay just said, has 5. So misses. Hits. On the Frightmare. Frightmare looks like it is going to be a dead Frightmare.
These are from the Aperture Pulse.
Yes.
Another wicked camera shot.
Yep. Just blast him to death. Oh, no, it didn't kill. All right, so whatever Jason targeted with that last shot did not manage to kill it. But the Frightmare has lost its mind and body. So, Frightmare's lost its mind and body. And the Rattler is out spirit and body. Both those guys are sitting on like no hit points.
Yeah.
All right, so the inverter is going to go now. It's going to charge. It's going to try to get some serious work done here.
Skin and Moans, highest priority, presumably.
He was measuring distance to both Skin and Moans and the Death Knell. But I would definitely up. So he's going for the Skin and Moans, at least first. So Shadow will trigger. So Shadow's going to trigger.
Oh, I forgot he had a 2-inch range on.
Oh,
the
a Cage Rager shows up.
Oh. And that's the Shadow happening?
That is the Shadow, so wasn't a Skin and Moans.
Not
So needs 5s to hit. Does hit. So POW 22. So +2 on the dice. Good roll. So that'll leave him with 8. And he is knocked down. So 6 more. Should leave him with 2, I think. By his first attack on the Skin and Moans. So hits. So Skin and Moan is dead.
Down.
Buy an attack. He's going to buy in the Rattler. Induct into the Galvanizer. Hits. This should be a dead Rattler, I would assume.
Because it was hurt pretty bad already.
Yep. So Rattler dies. So chooses to reave, and the Death Knell will get a corpse. All right. So the Galvanizer now moving. He'll swing on the Death Knell.
Has the Death Knell been hurt?
The Death Knell has not been hurt, and it still hasn't been hurt. Buys an attack after the Snake Eyes rolls. Hits, thanks to positive charge. POW 14. Dice off 6. It's 3. And that's going to be the end of that Galvanizer's turn. You see the clock just bouncing back out as our players take their turns.
It's true. It's been a
so this is going to be a tight. This is going to be a tight finish for both of them.
Yeah.
A little bit of a table bump
there. I like the table is definitely looking a lot more cleared off now.
There's not a lot of stuff left. So checking melee range here for the Optifex directive. He's going to try to run in and stop the scoring from happening. All right. And he still has the Optifex directive to go. There's two of those members left.
I think if this had been animated, you know, they would have had to go to Lucan for a good reaction shot when the shadow thing went down. You know,
like
see his like eye lens,
his aperture
focus.
lenses like open up like Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Whoop. What the heck?
Mathematically impossible.
Impossible.
All right, so Watt scores 1 control point from his zone, putting him at 6-4. Jay is leeching the rest of his fury. Jason screaming about how Shadow is stupid because he now has a Cage Rager in his back.
That is Lucan's opinion as well. I mean, he's playing it out.
He agrees that this is not right.
It is total BS.
All right, so Jay needs to move pretty quick here.
So does he have any of his Arcana cards left?
I believe he still has his Trump card left.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So we see some attacks going on here. Oof.
What's the condition for his Trump card?
So Jay forgot to shake on the Skin and Moans, it looks like, which is a huge problem because now it's not really going to be able to do anything this turn.
Ouch.
So, yeah, that's what happens when the clock is pressuring down on you.
That's
you
true.
Make those simple mistakes when you get kind of focused in.
Only got a bit under 7 minutes left.
Skin and Moans stands up, advances just into the zone. At least can meaningfully contest at this point. So we're going to see Cage Rager just going after that. It's not good to be a boombox guy.
I'm telling you, those guys, it's the worst job.
Lucan's like, get over there. No, you'll be fine. Just go do it.
Just go over there. I want you over there.
Holy crap.
But Lucan,
what is
you
that
seem to be going in the other direction.
And that's a soul for the Cage Rager.
Yeah. He's got a little boombox
fellow
like,
in there.
in the
I've
the
got
cage.
Theme music now.
Yeah. Turn up the bass.
Yeah. The Cage Ragers are all about the bass.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Death Knell's going to go. All right, so Corpse goes on to the Cage Rager. Attacks the Galvanizer.
Yeah, I do think that is the happiest Cage Rager. They have been pretty bummed most of this fight.
Barsk Manon, he's one of the only ones who's found a soul at this point.
Yeah.
He's like, delish. All right, so charge is going to happen.
Oh, yeah. I like seeing the casters get in there.
So quick measurement. Beat himself up a corollary. Off 2 on the corollary.
What craziness do you think the Heretic is spouting as he attacks this corollary?
He's probably screaming about electricity and the end of the world and Menoth obfuscating the sun.
The laws of physics do not apply to me either.
That's right. They do, though. I mean, that's how the convergence makes it work. So Heretic finishes himself off a...
No, but I think the Heretic is defying the laws of physics.
Oh, is he? He's defying them? I see. So Fury goes on the Cage Rager, putting it up to a respectable Power Plus Strength 20. And the Heretic's going to heal 2 aspects on the Frightmare, making it even more frightening.
Yeah.
As the faces that have been torn asunder stitch back together.
And the heretic saying,
with a slight sucking noise.
What is the machine without the flesh?
Oh,
that
my.
wields it?
There we go. Yeah. Just let's get in there. The Ravens need to go. All right, 9 points to the 5 on the inverter. Hits with the next one. 12 to the 6. Ooh, that was a good roll. Buys an attack. Hits in the back. 7 points to the 4. Buys an attack. Hits. Now you see Speed Machine going.
Oh, man, look at that clock.
Burns through. 11 to 1. Dead inverter. Jay's got 3:30 left. Go, Jay, go. Gremlin Swarm runs in just to get in the way.
MVP, Gremlin Swarm.
Not that Gremlin Swarm. That Gremlin Swarm's really done nothing so far.
Okay, that's true.
All right, so we're going to see if the Frightmare can eliminate the I'm not even sure what model that is anymore.
Is that one of the Optifex directive or something?
Yeah, those are the Optifexes. So it misses, deviates, does manage to clip one of them, and kills him. So even though he missed, I think that Frightmare's missed every shot this game.
Just goo and acid everywhere.
Yeah, it's just like can't control its vomit spray.
What does that sound like again?
What?
The Frightmare's acid spit?
Oh, I don't even know.
You had one on that.
I don't think that I did. Not the acid spit. I mean, oh, yeah. It was this one. It was very belchy. It was very belchy.
The burp before the acid.
Apparently, Barsky Mannon imagines that the heretic is just the most rebellious teenager. He went to college, learned about the military-industrial complex, and now he's mad at the man.
The child would have been the worst teenager, but didn't get there.
She didn't get there.
Yeah,
She's just a child.
But I'm just saying, like, she would have been.
She's effectively what Peter Pan should have been, a monster.
Yeah, that's true. Kids are monsters.
Awful? Yes.
All right, so what's Jason going to do here?
So Jay left at 250. Jason now looking at a tied game. This is round 6. There's 0 time on the clock, and he has gone into the tank.
Oh, man.
So
yeah, this is.
I mean, the problem is that so you've got a Skin and Bones that you really can't deal with. He's facing down your objective. That's 1 point. He can probably get the objective and the Optifect directive, so that's a 2-point swing because he's going to control that zone. You can't really do anything about the northern zone. That's another point.
Can Lucan pull anything off himself here?
I don't think so. I mean, Lucan, the Heretic, I think, is sitting on 3 Fury based on where we saw him end.
Right.
Dissolution Bolt itself really isn't going to do it. So you've got, yeah, I don't see a ton. So we've seen Jason trying to measure out his shots into the Skin and Moans to try to eliminate that. If he can remove the Skin and Moans, he saves his objective for sure. The problem is that he's got to get rid of that Frightmare. All right, so here we go. So TEP going to be the hero we need.
Yeah.
So moves up. And servitors come in. Looks like he's going to go for an additional die to hit and 2 additional die on damage with 2 sprays. So here we go. Try to remove himself another Skin and Bones. Hits no problem. That's a huge roll. You want that for damage, though, Jason.
Yep.
This thing's just taking pictures of the Grimkin like crazy.
Getting some good.
That's
good data
awesome
for
roll
later.
Right there. So Skin and Bones takes a heady amount of damage. Hits again. Needs another big roll here.
That's pretty good.
That is not going to be enough. That Skin and Bones going to sit on 2. Left him with 2.
Ouch.
Ugh.
Wow. Yeah.
Jason now just
Those clocks,
I mean, you can
ticking down.
probably finish him off with Lucan, but
right. But what does it get you?
I mean, it removes the skin and bone from rampaging in your back in the next
yeah,
turn,
he's
which
got
is
to do
pretty
it.
important. I don't think there's too much of an option. You see Dissolution Bolt range getting measured down. Of course, you have to also not die to the Heretic.
Yes. Here's where Lucan wishes he had another little boombox around.
No kidding. Well, you'd also have to have a little Warjack for that to work. Clock is ticking down as Jason kind of considers what his options are here. So Jason's trying to find an angle where he can use the objective to block the Heretic from being able to murder him.
Jason's clock's ticking down too.
Yeah, the other thing to consider here is the if that Cage Rager can Arcane Vortex.
So what's he doing over here?
So getting a quick pause. Want to make sure that this measurement works. Just kind of planning out where Lucan's going. All right, so Lucan instead is going to try to eliminate those gremlins.
I see.
So 13 on the Gremlin Swarms because the Galvanizer's not engaging the Gremlin Swarm. So boost a hit, does it, and that should be a dead Gremlin Swarm. Boosts damage, leaves Lucan with nothing. Gets rid of the Gremlins and gives the Corpse Card a corpse. Not the Corpse Card, that's what it used to be called, the Death Knell.
The Death Knell. Well, it's a good nickname for it.
Was the Corpse Card forever.
It's still, it has a Corpse Card.
In my heart, it will always be the Corpse Card.
Yeah, that could be the little back end piece, you know.
Right.
2 minutes left.
Galvanizer swinging. Oh, yeah, that clock is burning down fast. Buys an attack. Hits the Death Knell. Boosts damage. Death Knell is taking like 0 damage thus far. That's a good roll. 6 points. Buys 1 more attack. Misses. Oh.
So many misses.
So last Optifect Directive runs.
You're going the wrong way.
No, he's sacrificed himself for the cause, Doug.
Okay. Maybe somebody told him there was a...
for the cause. All right. 1:15 left on Jason's clock. No points scored at all that last round. Nope. No points scored. The Galvanizer stopped Jay. Skin and Bones stops Jason. Heretic kills the guy blocking the zone. Skin and Bones goes in. He's going to take down the objective. Skin and Bones gets 2 healed from the Heretic. So 3 points, 4 points. It's better. So that's a dead objective.
Dead objective.
Cage Rager comes up, just kind of gets into both. Frightmare comes over, tries to 2-hand throw on the so 2-handed throw.
Checking with the judge.
All right, so just trying to determine if two-hand throws are legal with a light.
Aren't they? Or is that?
Yeah,
I thought they were.
Pretty sure that they are. As long as you have the two hands that are open.
Yeah.
All right, some more book checking. As Pagani ignores everything and just chews on his sandwich. Now he's just casually rubbing himself.
So we're getting some action shot on the rules checking here.
Yep, CAK going through the rules. Trying to figure it out. Has open fists.
I was just talking about I used to do it with my World Watcher back in the day.
Yep, back in the day.
I haven't done it recently, but I'm pretty sure you can.
World Watchers and Vigilance.
Mm-hmm. Gorax sometimes.
Yeah. See the consideration happening. Can you do it? Oh. Jason talking about how the Shadow Arcana play saved the game for him, which is very true.
Well, yeah, you had a feeling that Shadow would be a key card.
All right, so is determined you can throw with a light.
That's what I thought. I'm glad.
And he gets thrown 3.5 inches that way. A mighty heave.
Heave ho.
So POW 7. No damage.
Robot on Nightmare Horse Wrestling.
So it does 8 damage to the 3 on the Galvanizer. And then that will end the turn, and Jay will score 1 for the objective, looks like 1 for the circle zone, and 1 for his own zone. So a 3-point swing for Jay. So 9-6 in this extremely high-scoring game.
This is an exciting last few minutes here.
All right. So Jason taking some shots here with the TEP. Clock winding down. We should be on round
30 seconds.
7 now, I believe. Quick pause. Trying to check if the Skin and Moans is in. Not entirely sure if we get an overhead shot. Maybe we could see what the spray's trying to target. So it looks like he's going for a run on the Heretic, but with that many.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So targets the Cage Ridge, will get all 3.
Man, I have to say TEP's been...
the TEP is a star player
been
every
working
time.
It. Yeah.
Every time. All right, so here we go. Heretic. So Jay will transfer. So it transfers to the Crabbit. Crabbit dies. Watt rolls. Heretic hits.
Four seconds.
Cage Ranger takes 13.
Two, 1, 0.
Oh, and that's the clock.
Oh. And that is the clock.
They're still going. I don't know if anybody's noticed the clock has burned out here.
The clock is down. I think he is. Yeah, time is out.
Watt got into a
I just figured he
focus and
he wanted
just
to ignore time itself. All right. Yeah.
All right.
That was an exciting last couple of minutes there.
All right, so there we go. So with that said, Jay Larson manages to win.
The death clock earned its name.
That's right. It earns another victim. What an amazing game.
No, that was a great game.
Back and forth, high-scoring turns each time. We saw a 3-point swing 2 different times by both players.
That's the one where the scenario was coming into play in a major way.
Absolutely.
You know, but then we got to see some caster caster attacks, some caster defense.
I mean, that was attrition. That was scenario pressure. It was everything. An amazing game played by both players.
Only thing that would have made it better is seeing Heretic and Lucan charge each other, smashing into each other.
I don't think Lucan wins that exchange ever.
Lucan's pretty good on the melee.
He doesn't auto hit. He doesn't auto hit, Doug.
I'm just saying.
He's not a god.
It would have looked cool.
He's just an old man in a robot suit.
You can rebuild him though.
It's better and stronger, maybe.
Better and stronger. Bigger Lucan.
Right, right.
Bigger Lucan.
There we go. All right. Well, join us again for the finals for champions coming up momentarily, where we will see our 2 finalists take on for the champions and the points for the Iron Gauntlet qualifying event. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.